What is up, guys? Welcome back to another Popcorn for That review. I'm Chris,
I'm Nick.
and today we are talking about The Bikeriders. So this is the newest film from Jeff Nichols, and it stars Jodie Comer, Austin Butler, Michael Shannon, Tom Hardy. What's your relationship like with the history of this filmmaker, by the way? Like, have you ever seen any of Jeff Nichols' movies before, and what did you think about them if you have?
I don't know that I have seen any of his movies. That I'm looking at a list. I've heard of Mud, heard of Midnight Special, but I haven't seen any of them.
So I've only seen Midnight Special and Take Shelter,
Mm-hmm.
and I did really like Take Shelter. And Michael Shannon is kind of like this guy's muse, so he's in every movie. But before we get into this particular one, what is this movie about? What are we getting into with the Bikeriders?
After a chance encounter at a local bar, strong-willed Kathy is inextricably drawn to Benny, the newest member of Midwestern Motorcycle Club, the Vandals, led by the enigmatic Johnny. Much like the country around it, the club begins to evolve, transforming from a gathering place for local outsiders into a dangerous underworld of violence, forcing Benny to choose between Kathy and his loyalty to the club. Well, if that ain't a description.
That is a description and a half, bro. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's funny. Yeah, so this does. By the way, I kind of thought I was going to get into something a lot like Easy Rider, if you've ever seen that, and it does kind of feel like it's paying homage to that. I mean, it's in that time period, so
Well,
it's
isn't
kind of
it?
paying up.
Isn't that like the whole? It's part of the movie. Like he got the idea of the motorcycle club from watching Easy Rider.
No, it was a different movie.
Oh,
You
okay,
do
okay.
see something about Easy Rider later, but it's like somebody from the motorcycle gang being like paid to be like a living advertisement for the movie
Right.
Easy Rider later
Yeah.
on. But no, it's something with Marlon Brando, which, by the way, I do think Tom Hardy was kind of channeling Marlon Brando in this movie for sure. And I got a little James Dean out of Austin Butler for sure. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it feels like it's paying homage to that time period. But I got more. It was almost like a little bit of for some reason Goodfellas came to mind. I don't know if it's like
Yeah.
the wife component and like the how it kind of starts out one way and kind of spirals out of control later on in the movie kind of thing.
Yeah.
Something about it
Goodfellas
reminded me
with
of like
less
Goodfellas and
crime.
motorcycles. Yeah, but it does get. I mean, it does turn into. It starts out innocent enough. It's just a bunch of motorcycle enthusiasts, and then it does turn into kind of like organized crime eventually at
Yeah.
a point. So, what were your general thoughts on this? What are some things that stood out to you here, though?
Yeah. No, I thought it was like an interesting way they told the story, where from the point of the wife's telling the story the whole time, and they're kind of jumping around time periods a little bit. And
Hmm.
you see the guy who I guess is supposed to be the real life guy who took the pictures and followed these guys around for a few years, played by the dude from Challengers, who I
Yeah,
didn't.
right.
It took me minutes to recognize. Yeah, I liked the story overall. It didn't seem like a super standout movie to me. I don't think anybody's winning Oscars for this one, but it was entertaining at least.
Yeah. So my two main I think this is well directed and well acted and everything, but my two main problems, one of them is smaller than the other, but Jodie Comer's fake accent was pretty distracting in the beginning. I kind of got over it eventually because she talks so much throughout this movie that it's like you have to kind of just get
Dude,
used to it at a point. But
so
it was bothering
Midwestern.
me.
That was the one interesting thing. I was like, she's not the only one with it. Pretty much everybody has it except for Austin Butler and Tom Hardy.
Yeah, so Tom Hardy also struggles with any kind of American accent, I think. I mean, he usually does his own, like, very Tom Hardy twist on whatever American accent he's going for.
What the hell were you thinking back there?
But Jodie Comer is very obviously a British person trying to do this accent. And it took me out a little bit in the beginning. It's a little cartoony. It's like a cartoon version
Oh
of
yeah,
what the Midwesterner sounds like.
and I don't think
Uh,
I mean maybe people from Chicago sound like that, but I was thinking more like Fargo or North Dakota or Wisconsin or something. She's like, oh geez, hey there guys.
Yeah, but that true code.
I sat right here and said I didn't want any true coat.
Yeah, almost borderline Canada. Like,
Yeah.
it's almost that level. But the other thing for me was that even though there is character development and this is some seriously, good acting going on and everything. But the characters themselves, it's not like they're underdeveloped. There's not a whole lot of very good people to latch onto here. So it kind of depends on how much you can handle. Like, I don't think these are great people. And there are points where it feels like you are supposed to root for them or feel a little more for them. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, these people are kind of just all like jerks to each other. And like, there's not a whole lot of like great redeeming stuff going on here. I mean, I think the wife is the most innocent. I can't remember Jodie Comer's character, but
Kathy.
character's name, but she's probably the most innocent. But like nobody's really. It's kind of just like there's this motorcycle gang, and as things get worse and worse, it takes a really long time for Austin Butler's character to notice that this is turning into bad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think probably too long.
Because a lot of
And
it's just, it starts off them hanging out, talking about their bikes, working on their bikes, and just drinking. And I was a little confused about this, and like that, my motorcycle club knowledge is not the greatest, I'm sure, but like they all have like 1%er, which I've always thought was like that's the 1% of the gangs that like run drugs and do illegal shit. And they weren't doing any of that. It didn't seem like they didn't show it
At first.
least. And
Right,
well,
at
even
first,
later
yeah.
in the movie, it didn't seem like it started until they got a bunch of other members and other chapters, and then it kind of started. But they didn't really show the main group doing any of that.
Right. And it even started out as innocent as just like a racing group, and
Yeah.
then Tom Hardy's character gets this idea from the Marlon Brando movie, whatever movie that was. But yeah, I just think there's not a lot of redeeming characters here, so that did take a little bit away from me feeling as much as I should in moments, and it feels like a lot of another big thing here, and I won't say a whole lot more than this, but one big thing here is it kind of ends on a whimper, and I think that is sort of a thing with a lot of this director's movies, Jeff Nichols movies. Like it kind of builds and builds, and then I don't know. How did you feel?
Yeah, I agree with
How
that.
did you feel about that ending?
I agree with you because it's kind of ends with Austin Butler just staring off. He still wants to be on the road or something. But even like the probably biggest climactic part of the movie kind of felt like boom, it happens, it's done, it's over. Okay.
Yeah, it's a little anticlimactic, but I do. I like seeing. I think all of these people are acting well.
I
and
still enjoyed it.
The writing's good, and it does remind you of like a type of movie that we probably don't get enough of these days, which is like it's not really bombastic and big blockbuster movie. It's kind of a slow type of story. It's maybe not slow, but it's just it's a little bit like a slice of life movie, except it's a slice of a life that involves some like crime and some wild stuff that not everybody's life entails. But
yeah,
by the end of it, like I said, the ending was. And the other thing is too, all of these people are choosing this motorcycle gang and all these other bunch of like drunk drug using dudes over their like wives and families, and kind of like abandoning their families and kids and stuff at home, and just don't really even care about their own wives. And I just kind of look at that and I'm like, kind of puts a bad taste in my mouth about you if you literally have a family at home and you're just like, yeah, but I gotta get on my hog,
Yeah.
I'm not like a big gearhead guy. I don't know anything about all this stuff. Anytime these guys are talking about motorcycle stuff, I have no idea. It's like advanced calculus to me. So I'm not the target demographic for this, and I'm sure people that like really are into this would be ideal for people that are like really into 70s movies about motorcycles, or just really into motorcycles in general.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. I'm a little confused about how to score it, but and I don't even know if we're there yet. What else? Is there anything else that you want to say about this thing?
Nah, not without spoiling too much, because I mean, I think it is a decent movie that people will enjoy if you're into these type of things. It does kind of remind me, not as good, but it does kind of remind me of one of my favorite movies that Tom Hardy is in, Lawless. Like it's kind of like a slow burn, and like some big things happen throughout. But I feel like Lawless does it way better. But yeah, I don't know, man. It was kind of it's kind of what I expected of it. I'm a little mixed too. Like it had some negatives, but it's like slow burn, good movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you ever watch Midnight Special, I kind of felt like the same way about Midnight Special, where I was like, that was a pretty good movie, but it's like I'm not sure where I'll be with how much it'll stick with me later. And in the grand scheme of things, like I don't know how well I could really tell you the story of Midnight Special right now.
Yeah,
so I don't know. It's like pretty good, but
yeah, I felt about this one. Like watching this, I was like, yeah, it's yeah, I like it, but it's not one I'm gonna remember.
And I do think Austin Butler is putting on a heck of a performance here, but I don't think this is gonna be, unfortunately, I don't think this is gonna be a big like box office draw when you've got things like Inside Out 2 and stuff like that. Outright, Bad Boys, Ride or Die, or whatever that's called.
Right.
You got those things competing for it. It's kind of going to get, and it's too bad because it is a pretty good movie, and it did get like pushed. It just kept getting pushed forward and pushed forward and pushed forward because of the writer strikes and all of the stuff. So
yeah,
it's been getting kicked down the road for a long time. But anything else you want to give this a score? I gotta figure out where I'm at.
I know. It's like I want to go a little bit higher than I want to, but I feel like I've got a number, but I feel like I should go lower because I don't know. It was a very middle of the road movie. I feel like I'm gonna have to go. I want to say 6.5, but I'm gonna go like 5.5. Like it wasn't terrible. It wasn't great. Like I enjoyed it while I was watching it, but I'm not gonna be thinking about it for any amount of time.
Yeah, I think in this instance I'm exactly in the same spot as you. I think 5.5 is about right. It's better than okay. I recommend it, but we kind of broke it down. so so it is what it is. Not a bad time at the theater by any means, though. So
Yeah.
that's the review. Thanks for watching, guys. We appreciate you watching, and we'll see you in the next one. See you
ya.
guys.